Good evening, everyone, for another episode of Horror Hangouts here, season three. And tonight we're just kind of relaxed. We just have a few topics we're going to cover tonight. And of course, I have here with my panel tonight. Let's see, we have Molly Oblivion joining us once again. How's it going, Molly?
Pretty good. Hello. Thanks for having me back.
As always. We also have George is also with us tonight. How are you doing, George?
Very good. Very good.
Excellent. And of course, we also have joined by Kimberly from the Horror Concierge at
Hi guys.
Substack.
Thanks for having me back, Josh. As always.
Oh, as always fun. So, well, I guess start of the week was kind of a weird one. Well, not so great one because on Monday morning we lost a one of our terrific actors in the horror community. I saw it the first thing Monday morning as I was looking at Substack, and I flipped over to Instagram and saw the news, and it was, of course, that Sam Neill had passed away, and it's only ironic because over the last few episodes, I think our European horror episode, we talked about Possession, which is
hmm
probably his best performance, and then I think on the sci-fi horror episode that we had just last month, we had, of course, talked about Event Horizon. And Molly, I think didn't you do a post on In the Mouth of Madness? I
I
think it
did. It's
was.
one of my all-time favorite movies. We've been watching Sam Neill movies all week, and we
Hmm.
watched Event Horizon, Dead Calm, Possession, and then I watched In the Mouth of Madness twice. It's one of my all-time favorites.
I had watched Possession Monday night. I was due for my annual watch of that movie,
hmm
and here's a funny thing: I'm watching it. I'm out in the living room like I am now, and right as the subway scene comes up, we just get started. Here comes my daughter out of her room asking, "Hey, can you take me to the store? I need to get some ice cream." And I'm like,
Oh no.
"Pause. Okay, let's run to the store. It's only like a couple blocks away, or what." I should have told her just ride your bike and get it. But I don't have to worry about that, my son, because he just keeps himself cooped up in his room. So I had to come back, rewind it back to the start of it, and figures always when the good scene comes up too. So
Right.
yeah, that was a tough loss there, but yeah, contributed many.
hmm
Uh, Probably doesn't get talked enough about in the horror community. I think he's, but yeah, Possession. Also, Damien Omen 3. I'm trying
hmm
to think of some other. Of course, he's most known for being in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
See, that's so funny to me because I forgot. I feel so awful. I forgot he was in the Jurassic Park movies. I know him so much from the the
Mm-hmm.
the
Same
horror
here.
space, and I know Jurassic Park is technically a horror science fiction film, but like I know him so much from the more kind of overtly horror films he did that I completely forgot he was in Jurassic Park. When we were trying to pick our movies for the week, Liam was like, "Oh, we have to watch Jurassic Park," and I was like, "Why?" Oh, right, because he's in it. I felt so stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like the first movie I can remember seeing him in was actually it was a supporting role, and it was 1990, The Hunt for Red October, which
Ooh,
starred
yeah.
Sean Connery, Alec Baldwin, a really young, thin Alec Baldwin. Also, Tim Curry was in that too, as well as James late great James Earl Jones. So that was the first movie I can remember seeing him in until I like saw, oh wow, he's been in tons of crazy stuff. So
Yeah, he was incredible. Mm.
Yeah.
it seemed like that. So anyway, so we'll get started here. So oftentimes we get movies that spawn franchises, just endless sequel after sequel after sequel. Then they go the reboot remake route. But there's also like some of those rare movies that were just one and done movies, and we always kind of like wondered why didn't they ever make a sequel? So, well, our first topic of tonight is movies that should have gotten a sequel. So, I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, Kimberly. Do you have a movie you wish they had made a sequel to?
I do. I have three, in fact.
Okay,
I'm so passionate about it.
all right.
Drag Me to Hell, Number
Hmm.
one, because I loved it, and I want like more lore, and I love Justin Long. Number two, Cabin in the Woods, because I need to see more creatures,
Hmm.
and number three, Constantine.
Ooh,
Oh
Constantine
yeah.
is a
Keanu.
good answer. Constantine is such a good answer to this
Yeah.
question.
I'm surprised. Yeah, that's another one. I'm surprised they never made a sequel
Mhm.
to.
That should have been a
Uh,
whole franchise. We should have gotten a whole series of Constantine
I
films.
yeah, because
know.
there were so many different things you could do with that, and
Hmm.
it
Mhm.
seemed like it did well in the box office. I think when it came out. I mean, I don't know if it was a big hit, but I would think they would make made enough money to where they could have made a sequel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
agree with Drag Me to Hell. That's another one you could do a lot with.
Hmm.
So if there's anyone out in the chat, go ahead and say hello. I think we got one person watching, so maybe they'll
Yeah.
reveal themselves. I don't know yet. So
You said Constantine is getting a sequel. I mean, they've been talking about it for thousands of years, and it's rumored to be finally greenlit, which I hope is true because I can't wait to see Keanu back as
Mhm.
Constantine. But I hope so. But there's no timeline to it.
oh, Han Pritchard is with us. Constantine is getting a
Oh,
sequel,
oh,
right?
it did. Yeah, I
So
heard.
the
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's one of
Well,
those things where I feel like I understand why Keanu Reeves kind of became John Wick. I really do. I get that. And I genuinely enjoy the John Wick movies. I think he's great in them. But I felt like Constantine was that should have been his big franchise role because he
Hmm.
just did such a great job in the movie. And yeah, I don't know. I'm glad. Hopefully it will actually go forward and they will make a sequel where he gets to come back and play that role again. I know he's going to make a lot of people happy.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
oh, good, good. Yeah, and he's ageless too. It doesn't look like he's aged a day since like
It's
I
because
think
he's
he
happy.
I
I'm
think he
telling
be
you.
I think it's because I think he literally became a vampire when he did Bram Stoker's Dracula and has never aged since. I think Gary Oldman turned him into a vampire.
See, I,
But
I, I really think, like, on a serious note, I really think it's because he's such a happy, chill person. Like, I really think that that's the
mhm,
secret. Just, he's happy. He seems incredibly chill, very low stress person. And I think that that is a huge part of why he's never aged.
probably it could be. I don't know. I think it's a generational thing because you
Yeah.
see all these actors and actors that grew up watching like in the 80s and 90s who aren't probably that much older than me, maybe 10 years older than me, and it's looks like they're not a day over 40,
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
so I think it's a
Yeah.
Gen X thing. I think we have that X chromosome or whatever, like the X Men. I mean, Kimberly doesn't look like a day over 30, and I don't look a day over
That's right.
41, maybe. Okay. Well, yeah, those are some good choices. How about you, George? What do you have a movie you wish they had made a sequel to?
Um, when Evil Lurks.
Oh,
Uh,
Mm.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
oh
oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh,
Yeah,
you're in for a
That's
really.
treat.
yeah, that's quite a movie. That's it's an Argentinian horror movie. I don't recall the director's name off the top of my head, but it kind of reminds me of. He would do a great job if he did an Evil Dead movie because the monsters in that movie are kind of like they remind me of Deadites, kind of, except that they're smarter. So I think that would be I think that would be a great sequel. I think they made it in 2023, and it's kind of like he did a lot of world building for that movie, and it's a really great movie. And it's like I don't really like extreme horror, um, and that kind of qualifies. But I love that movie. I think it was great. I'd also say I watched a movie called Triangle, that I think
Oh,
came
I
out.
love Triangle. Oh my God, I love that movie.
Yeah, I think it came out 2009 maybe. It came out a couple of years after Time Crimes, and it's really similar to Time Crimes. That's basically the guy who made that movie. He loved The Shining because the ship is basically the overlook of the sea, and it's a really freaky movie that you have to watch more than once. And I mean that as like a compliment because there's like a bunch of stuff happening the first time around that I didn't notice. And then I would say Kill List. I think they could make a sequel to, which is an English folk horror movie about a guy who is he works he's an assassin. He stopped working because I guess he hurt his back or something like that, and
Late.
his wife is getting on him because they have a kid too, and they need money and they need to pay the bills. So he needs to take a job, and he doesn't want to take a job, and eventually he takes a job, and the job he shouldn't have taken the job. So I think that would have been that movie would be great for sequel also.
All right. Those two I've not seen, so I'll have to put those on
Oh, you haven't
the
seen
list.
Triangle yet?
No, I've not. I
Oh
haven't
man,
heard of Triangle till now.
it is a mind fuck. It's
Yeah,
fabulous. I highly
I haven't
recommend
seen either.
it.
I haven't seen
you
another.
should you should watch Time Crimes with it as a double feature, which
I
is a
haven't seen
spat.
that one yet. I got to add
Yeah,
that to my watch
it's
list.
a Spanish horror movie. It has science fiction elements in it, but I view it as kind of like a horror movie. And it's that and Triangle are kind of similar movies. So yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, when evil lurks, that would be an interesting one. And Molly, you would like it because it's all subtitles.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
do
know
love
you don't.
subtitles.
Because we discussed this a few months ago. You do not like when they overdub their
Yep,
into English. You prefer to see the subtitles. Well, this one's in subtitles, so I think
good.
you'll.
Yeah,
I don't.
I want to
They
hear it.
might.
I want to hear it in the native language. I don't want to hear people. I don't like the dubbing. Yeah.
I agree with that actually. That's a good point.
I mean, I know for some people there's a disconnect. If they have to read, it takes them out of it. So like, and I know that there are all sorts of accessibility related reasons for
Hmm.
subtitles that are, I mean, or for dubbing. So I'm not like hating on dubbing in general, but it drives me insane if I can tell that the voice that I'm hearing just is not coming out of the person that's speaking. Even ADR in movies can sometimes drive me nuts. It's like I'm too sensitive to
It's
it.
like, and I was just recently, and George, I think you wrote about this movie not too long ago. You were the Beyond.
Oh yes.
Lucio Fulci's Beyond. Now there's a movie that's supposed to take place in New Orleans, but
Yeah.
you have everyone talking in just regular American accents.
Hmm.
None of them sound like they're Cajun at all. So it's like, so you had a bunch of people filming in New Orleans, speaking in Italian, being dubbed by like maybe a more like Northern American accent. When if you're gonna dub it, at least dub it into something that sounds like it's from Louisiana or something. Okay, well, Molly, what do you have for us? What did you want to see have a sequel that never had one?
I gotta say, this is the first time since I have been hanging out with the horror Hangouts crew that a question has actually stumped me.
Really?
Yeah, well, I, I think Kimberly actually, I kind of want to steal your Constantine answer because it's the first one that I'm actually like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that because it's got that sort of comic book vibe. It
Mm-hmm.
it it really does beg for a continuation for the story, for the character. But for the most part, when it comes to one and done films, I can enjoy sequels, and I do. Like my favorite Friday film is The Final Chapter.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Halloween film is H2O. So like I can enjoy sequels, but I usually don't want them. Like if I had to choose between getting a sequel or just having this be a one-shot story, I would almost always choose let's have this if it was a good solid story, let's let it lie and just let it be its own thing. There are horror movies that I'd love to see sequels to, but they have already received sequels. You know, like I want to
Okay.
see a fourth Reanimator really badly. I want Jeffrey Combs and Bruce Abbott to come back, give us one more
You're
movie
right.
as Herbert and Dan. And I would love to see a continuation of the Halloween franchise, picking up where Halloween 3 left off, where every movie is a completely different story.
Hmm.
But actually, like I said, thinking of a one-shot horror movie that I would like to see continued, I couldn't think of any. I'm so sorry. Like I just
Oh, well, that's
I
fine.
couldn't think of
I
any.
can't believe I actually stumped you for
You
once
really,
there.
you totally stumped me. Like my first thought was the movie The Orphanage. I loved that movie and I was like, ooh, what a
Hmm.
cool setting. I would love to see another story set in this particular house, but it would have to be a prequel. And even then, I just why? It was such a great movie and such a spooky little story with a beautiful ending, and it's like, man, let's just leave it. You know, that's kind of where I land with it. So
I will.
very boring answer from me.
Well, I will say this on the Halloween 3 idea
Hmm.
of going back to what was basically original. I think they've done Michael to death anyway. I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything more you can do with that now.
Hmm.
Um, so if you were to do that, and I don't know if they will or not, I think the logical step would be to go the uh, anthology route if they were going to do that. So
Yeah. Hmm.
they've talked about it. I don't think they'll do it. I think if they do that, they're going to do it in a TV series format. Something tells me if
Hmm.
they were to do that, I don't think they'll do that. Seems like all of our old franchises are going to television now, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I would sooner them not, but
Yeah.
anyhow, well,
Yeah.
okay. And that's a good thing to seeing a fourth reanimator. That's because I don't think we've heard the last of Herbert West, and nor should we. So
Well, no, and I mean, I really love Beyond Reanimator, but I
yeah,
was so sad that Bruce Abbott didn't come back for it. And I mean, he's still around, and Barbara's still around, Jeffrey's still around. Like, why not have one last film where we bring Herbert and Dan back? You could also bring Barbara back if, like, not to go off on too much of a
oh yeah,
tangent, because I've clearly put like way more thought into this than any human should, but like you could have it where, you know, like Dan is maybe incapacitated somehow. He's in like a coma. He's terminally
hmm,
ill. He's dying, and you bring back Meg because in Dan's unconscious mind, he and Meg have are still in love and they've grown old together, and so we get to see Meg without freaking de-aging Barbara Crampton's beautiful face to try to make her look 19 again. Let her be her age and let it be
right,
just she exists as Meg in Dan's mind. And that's why Herbert comes, because after all this time has passed, he's finally perfected the reagent, and the first person he fully revives with it successfully is Dan. And then maybe have them sort of team up to take down maybe some sort of organization that's trying to exploit the reagent or something. Like, that might sound a little stupid, but like I feel like there's a way to
hmm,
do it where you bring everyone back, have Joe Lynch direct it so that it gets done right, so that it's a love letter to Stuart Gordon, you know,
right.
and we get to see them play those roles again. I would give anything for that. But I mean, that wasn't a one shot, so I didn't feel like it was an appropriate answer, but that would be my answer, I guess. Yeah.
Well, good enough answer though. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a fourth one if they wanted to do it. I think I've always thought maybe. Well, this is me just going off into like into the world of combining franchises together, but somehow he could fit in. Somehow, like if you needed to have, say, if we wanted to resurrect Nancy Thompson, who of
Hmm.
course dies at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Somehow Herbert West gets woven in there and he ends up bringing
Hmm.
her back. Or, oh, of course, now she's a zombie, but he's able to implant her into Freddy's memory and she's haunting Freddy in his dreams or something
Or
like
Or if you really want to do something like that, if depending on how things go with Bruce Campbell's health, which of course
that.
we're all hoping that it goes really well, you know, you could just adapt Reanimator versus Army of Darkness, adapt that comic into a movie
Hmm.
and bring those two franchises
Oh,
together
that
because I
would
feel
be
like they
great.
would fit together so well, you know.
Well, let's hope.
Hmm.
Hope Bruce is doing well. I think another one too. was it last month? Tyler Main, who played Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie Halloween films. He was diagnosed with male breast cancer and has been
Hmm.
undergoing uh, chemo and all that. And I've met him once, but he's just, I mean, the guy's like 7 foot tall, but he's like the nicest
Hmm.
guy you'll ever meet. So
He's
hopefully,
he's doing such good things with it too, though, because he's using this
mhm,
as an opportunity to educate people about the fact that men can get breast cancer, which
right,
isn't super well known. It's been really inspiring, actually. I mean, I hate that he's going through it, but man, he's handling it in such a classy fucking way and just really using it as a teaching moment, and I love that.
right.
You
Well, and
know.
he's one of these guys who occasionally on Instagram, even before this happened, he'd be one of these guys that would give out like just a little reel, just checking in on people because
Hmm.
these are stressful times, saying, "Hey, just stay with it. You'll be okay.
Hmm.
We'll get through this," type of stuff. And
Yeah, he's a good
you
dude.
know, yeah, he
Hmm.
is. So, well, I have one, and I guarantee you, it's from a movie that I would be willing to bet. Also, Yanni's is out there watching us from afar from the Macabre
Yeah.
Tavern. So,
Brianni.
uh, he says he'd like to see one more maniac cop movie
Oh, yeah.
being
Okay, that's a
made.
good answer too. Yeah.
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 But anyhow, this is a movie that I guarantee no one has seen, but you might know the origin story. And this is a movie that came out in 2016 called Siren.
Hmm.
And this movie was basically a spin-off off of the first segment of the original VHS. If anyone's seen that. And I
Hmm.
know I know. Josh actually watched a found footage film, but anyhow, if you remember that segment, we introduced to I guess she's like known as a succubus named Lily, played by actress Hannah Fearman. Well, they decided a few years later to give her her own movie, and it's actually pretty good. I'm not going to say it's a great movie, but it centers around. We start off with these guys are going to a bachelor party essentially, and they're going to a bar, and made me think, God, I'm glad I didn't have one of those. My wife and I were smart. We just had a bachelorette party together, so none of us could like misbehave or whatever. But anyhow, they go to this club, and the sleazy owner says, "I can promise you guys the greatest time of your life." And so the one guy goes back there, is like one of those private booths, and behind there is the character of Lily. And he realizes that she's been captured. Something's up here. So he rescues her, and they get out of there. Of course, they're being chased by these guys because he just stole his main attraction. And then things get really crazy, and she does the things that she does. And this is a character that's really more of an anti-hero, but we don't have like very many like I guess female monsters that have gotten their own franchise. In fact, I can't think of any. I mean, we've had a lot of standalone female villains, but we've never had one that's actually had their own franchise. And this would have been one you could have done so many different things with this character and put her in so many different settings that I think it would have been great. And I'm thinking to myself, I just got done watching the first three movies, the witchcraft movies, which there's been 17 of.
I saw your
Yeah.
post about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm three movies in. I don't know if I'm going to make it
Yeah.
through. So far, mixed results. One
They're
was,
all they're all the same.
yeah, we'll find out. But if you can make 17 of those, and let's not forget how many subspecies movies have been made, let alone VHS movies that have been made, you could
Mhm.
certainly you could certainly have done a few more movies of those. So if you haven't seen Siren, I think I think the only way you can watch it is you can rent it on Amazon. I don't think it's free on streaming. That's why I went and purchased the physical copies just so I have it on hand just in case. So but yeah, that's a movie I was like would have liked to have seen not only a sequel but being turned in an actual franchise, and I think 2016 would have been the perfect timing of it. So I don't know if anyone out there has seen the movie. They probably haven't even heard of it because Some mo-
a long time ago. I need to rewatch it because as you were explaining it, it jogged my memory. But it is good. It is a good movie. It's just as good.
I'm
Yeah.
still trying to wrap my head around the fact that you're right. I can't, with the exception of a couple of Japanese horror franchises, I can't think of a single franchise with a female monster where the monster is always like the same female character. Is my
The
brain
ring,
Did they
broken?
do
There
that
has to be one.
was it the same lady
the
in
ring,
Species?
yeah,
Yeah, well,
species.
see the Ring, but I was counting the Ring and like and the Grudge movies and stuff that as like the Japanese horror ones that I could think of. Like I can,
okay.
Well,
but like
Kimberly mentioned species, which I
species,
remember.
species.
Yeah,
Yes.
Species.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that I've ever seen the Species movies.
I
I
don't
should
remember if
probably
she was
look.
the same actress in all the movies, though. I can't remember. I think
I know
so.
in the first, I only seen the first two. I didn't know they made any more past the second. So,
Yeah, that just blows my mind because I mean we've got like the Child's Play franchise. Tiffany is a consistent character, but she's not the main villain in
right,
most of the
right.
movies, and like Annabelle's a doll. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to think like what that is bizarre and sad. And so yeah, hopefully someday Siren will become a thing and we'll see
Yeah.
more, female franchise killers.
And the only reason I really got interested or even watched VHS in the first place, I saw the actress Hannah Fearman on another YouTube channel being interviewed. Goes, well, wow, she seems kind of cool. All right, I'll go ahead and check this out. And it's easily the best segment of that whole movie.
Hmm.
There was a couple other good ones, and there were other ones I just fell asleep during. But,
Yeah.
but that's a me thing with found footage, oftentimes. Yanni says
Or
there were
found
a
footage.
few in the 50s, so I'm like trying to think who, but okay. They could have, I mean, Hammer kind of did that with what was called the Karnstein trilogy. Kind of, sort of, but it was a different character in each movie where you have this female vampire
Mm.
that is, they made 3 movies, but it was a different character each time. It wasn't the same character, the same actress in each movie.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess technically, I mean, Sleepaway Camp kind of did it, I mean,
I
it,
suppose that, yeah,
you know,
kind of.
um, obviously it's a very unique situation, but I mean, I do think that it would still, Angela definitely still counts. And so like, but yeah, it just does not happen that often. And that's really interesting to me. I'm going
That's
to
a
have to
good
look
one.
further into that. That kind of ties into that paper that I've been writing about just representation of women in horror films in general. And
I talk.
I'm usually more on the side of representing women in heroic roles in horror films because of you run the risk with female villains of running too deep into the haxploitation subgenre, which I have a really bad relationship with the haxploitation subgenre. But like I would still really love to see more, long running female villains that don't get killed off right away.
There was Night of the Demons.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
They
And
remade it. I guess they didn't really do a sequel.
yeah. They didn't do it. Yeah, a sequel. I didn't see the remake. What was
remake's
that?
good.
Early 2000s? Was that the early 2000s when they made it?
Came out 2009.
Yeah.
Nothing beats the original.
Nope.
Leave room for the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, they did mention some from like Cat People. I guess there was one, The Invisible Woman. Of course, I don't know if they turn those into franchises or not.
Yeah,
But
I think that's kind of the thing is like we've seen plenty of female villains, but when have we seen a female version of like Michael Myers
Right.
or Jason Voorhees or
Uh,
Chucky,
uh,
where like it's the same.
American Mary, right? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
American
yeah,
Mary?
Yeah. Anyway, Carrie,
I
I
think
mean, Carrie
Little
did get a
Women.
couple of films, but they were all just sort of reboots of the same story, weren't they?
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've only seen the original. I didn't know they
Mm.
made. I know they did the remake, but I didn't know they did a sequel to that. Did they?
Maybe they
Yeah,
didn't. Maybe it's just like 3 different remakes. I don't
And they're
remember.
all
I
bad.
think so.
They're all
Yeah.
terrible. Yeah,
Hmm.
American Mary, I think they only had just one, right?
Yeah, I don't think they had a sequel to American Mary, did they?
Well, there's another movie that needs a sequel then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. It's fascinating. I'm going to be thinking about that for a long time.
Well, okay. So there we go with that. So the next one we're gonna go to, we've all like have our. I hate calling them guilty pleasures because if you like something, you shouldn't feel guilty
Don't
about.
feel
But we have
guilty.
like,
Just like it.
yeah, I know. But we all have those movies that we really, really enjoyed, but no one else seemed to like. So that's our next topic. So I'll go back to you, Molly. I'm
Because
sure
it's the
you have.
extreme opposite of a question that stumps me. Is this question where like 90% of my favorite movies fall into this category?
I don't know. Let me get
Um,
comfortable here while you
no,
go
I'll,
for it.
I promise I'll pick just one, or otherwise
Okay.
we really will be here all day. There's actually a cluster of
Hmm.
like PG-13 horror films from like the early to mid 2000s that got a lot of hate, including Slender, Wish Upon, and The Bye Bye Man.
Hmm.
I don't love any of those movies necessarily, but I have watched all of them more than once, and I don't hate any of them. I know that like I guess I would probably say The Bye Bye Man would be like the best example because it's one of the most hated horror movies of the 21st century. I have heard almost no positive. I've seen people literally say that they hope that the director would die, which is unfortunate because she actually did. But like I've seen
God,
people get so viscerally angry about The Bye Bye Man. It's
I
not
haven't
it's
seen
not
it.
that bad. It's not a great movie, but it is by far 10 times better than people make it out to be. It's just an interesting sort of take on the kind of like urban legend thing with a little bit of edginess and some bad CGI. But I thought that everybody did a decent job in the film. I thought there were a couple moments that were a little on the spooky side, especially for like an entry-level horror film. If I had kids, I would probably show them movies like these PG-13 horror films that
Hmm.
got such a bad rap. Um, and same thing with like Wish Upon and Slender, because those movies, they feature Joey King, and with all due respect to Joey King, she's not the strongest actress, and she does invite a lot of scrutiny from people. She gets a lot of hate for her performances. But again, I just don't think they're all that bad. I thought Wish Upon was so much fun. It was just a really fun, be careful what
Okay.
you wish for kind of cautionary tale for teenagers. And so, yeah, I guess those would be my top picks because I see so many people get like so violently angry about how they're just the worst movies in the whole world. And it's like, really? Have you not seen Slaughtered Vomit Dolls? Like, if you think Wish Upon is the worst movie ever made, you need to watch a lot more movies because it's not that bad.
Yeah, I would. I have two recommendations if you want to watch a really, 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 really awful film. I guess, like, and they're both from two of my favorite franchises,
Yeah.
Halloween Resurrection and
Mhm.
Hellraiser Revelation. That if you want to see some bad movies, watch those two.
Mhm.
Then tell me how bad that movie
But see,
is.
like that's the thing is, I also hate Resurrection. I do,
Hmm.
for very obvious reasons because of what they did to Laurie more than anything. But like
And
even Resurrection,
they retconned otherwise a triumphant
a
ending is
triumphant.
what
They
they.
took away a beautiful ending from one of my favorite fictional characters, and that sucked. But like even Resurrection, I get a kick out of it. I'm sorry, but Buster Rhymes and Michael Myers in that hallway will
Hmm.
never not crack me up.
Yep.
And like there are moments that I think are really good. To me, a bad movie is like Thanksgiving 3. It's shot on or like Ouija Shark. It's shot on a budget of like $500. Nobody in the movie has ever acted in anything but porn. And like, they blew 90% of the budget on the one special effect of the shark. And there's like almost no story. That to me is a really bad movie. So like something like Resurrection, I didn't enjoy it for the most part, but like I still wouldn't even say it's bad. But I don't know. That's just me though. I have really like low standards, I guess. I don't know. Mm. Yeah, I think as long as there were people that actually worked on somebody's gonna love it somewhere.
Oh
And
yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, when it comes to that cluster of films, Bye Bye Man, Wish Upon, Slender, those are I think my top three picks of movies that most people hated, and I don't quite understand why because I think they're fine.
Okay. All right. Well, Kimberly, what do you have? Is there a movie that you really like that everyone else seemed to dislike?
Yeah, I liked Alien Resurrection with Winona Ryder. I mean, I love that Alien. A lot of people hate on it. I just love that movie, and I love that was the first time you saw Alien swim. So I mean, it's a really good movie. It's super entertaining. I mean, I loved it. I mean, yeah, Sigourney Weaver. A lot of people don't like how they brought her back, and she had her arc was completed and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I just love that movie. So entertaining. And then Aliens, like Brad Dourif is in it, and it's just I don't know.
You do have a good cast in that. I'll give you
Movie,
that.
movie, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trying
And
to
that,
think what
absolutely.
else. I don't know. I'm very forgiving with a lot of the sequels. I mean, I like most of the Friday the 13th. I like most of the Halloweens. I like you know most of I like every single Freddy. So I don't know, but I'm pretty forgiving, and I agree with Molly. Like I like all those. I mean, the teeny bopper. Countdown, whistle,
Countdown. I thought
Terror.
Countdown was so fun.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not watching them for like the best storyline, the best, but they're
Mhm.
popcorn. They're entertaining. It's
Mhm.
quick and easy, good horror fun. It's like the fast food horror.
Yeah,
Like
mm-hmm.
you
Oh
know,
exactly.
yeah.
Hmm.
it's quick, easy. You know what the how story's gonna end. You know how it's gonna go,
Hmm.
but it's super entertaining. So
Yeah.
I think that countdown.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I will say this: I wasn't an initial fan of Alien Resurrection, but after seeing the first like 3 or 4 episodes of Alien Earth,
Ah,
Alien Resurrection looks really good now.
I hated Alien Earth. It's like,
Yeah, we
oh my
we've
gosh,
talked about that one. I
I hate
couldn't
I
it.
make it
haven't
past
seen it.
episode 4.
Do
I
not.
haven't
Neither
seen
not.
it, so it's really bad.
Yes.
Okay.
I would much rather watch a alien swim than being learning like,
A 2 foot alien. Like you could kick
yeah,
across the
dog
room.
being treated like a little pet. It's what happens when Disney gets a hold of a horror franchise that
Oh,
maybe it shouldn't have. Maybe it'd be best for them to sell it off to someone who can actually
yeah.
do something really well with it. They probably need to bring back like their Touchstone Studios, which used to be their more adult oriented studios for
Mhm.
those films, but
Mhm.
oh well.
Yeah.
George, how about you? What's a movie that you really like, but that everyone else disliked, or at least seemed like they did?
Well, there's a movie called 1970. It was made in the 70s. It was a one of those animal attack eco horror movies,
Hmm.
Ooh.
and it's called Night of the Lepus.
Oh,
Um,
I love that movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
and what the movie is about is so it has an environmental theme, and they used poison to kill the coyotes. Now there's rabbits everywhere. So they inject the rabbits with steroids, and the rabbits grow to the size of like buffalo and just thunder across the plains. And they have lots of close-ups of like galloping rabbits in slow motion and like close, like high shots where like they're supposed to look scary, where they're kind of like wiggling their noses, and it's really not scary. But Bones from Star Trek is in it, and Janet Leigh is in it also. So
Oh
it has
wow.
a yeah, it has a really good cast, and I mean, I'm not going to say it's I mean, it's not ever going to win an Academy Award, but it's just like people I think rather than hated, it's just like ignored, and I don't really understand why because it's like it's towards the top of my creature feature movies. Just like there's nothing like watching like a herd of killer rabbits just galloping in slow motion across the plains towards you and people and like they have to act scared, you know what I mean? Oh my god, here come the rabbits. um, so yeah, that one I think it definitely deserves more acclaim.
It's so
Okay.
interesting that DeForest Kelly was in that because I didn't think
Yeah.
about the fact that William Shatner was also in Kingdom of the Spiders,
Yeah,
another
yes.
eco horror film from the
Yeah.
70s, also really good,
Sure.
also totally ignored.
He's like, help me at the end. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. I love that. Now I want to watch. I want to watch that movie again. I want to watch them both again.
Well, Harry just did a review of Frogs, which has the
Yeah,
best tagline
Mhm.
ever, which is "Today the pond, tomorrow the world."
yeah,
And yeah,
that was
I
a
mean,
great review.
yeah,
That was good.
those movies are really awesome. And like they come before Jaws, so and
Hmm.
like a lot of them are so sincere, and it's just but they're just so like they're so stupid, but.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I do remember watching Frogs. That was like one of my early watches as I was like, as a kid, kind of like working my way up the horror scale. Is like some of those eco horror movies of the late 60s, early 70s, like Frogs and Land of the Giant Ants or whatever they were called. I watched quite a bit of those. So,
Mhm. Yeah,
Frogs
I
is
fell down a
another.
rabbit hole of those 70s killer ant movies. There
Hmm.
because when I was doing the cultography series on them, there aren't that many that are specifically just about ants, but man, I have yet to see a killer ant movie that I don't like. I like
Yeah.
every single one I've ever seen.
Them
It's
is an awesome movie.
Mhm.
I'm like, if I even see ants outside or whatever, I'm going to the hardware store or wherever and getting every type of ant killing mechanism I can find. And I'm burning. If I have to burn them, I will. But and have. But well, the movie I'm gonna pick, and it's a movie that got a lot of hate when it came out. I think it's starting to get a little bit more acceptance now, and it's from Rob Zombie's Lords of Salem, and that's happens to be my second favorite of his movies behind House of a Thousand Corpses, and maybe when it comes to the witchcraft genre, it's probably in my top three or four.
Hmm.
The thing I love about that movie is, and I think it's why a lot of people were turned off, it's so unlike his other films. He decided to do something very different with this one. This one's a much more, it's a bit of a slow burn in a way. It's relies more on psychological horror and disturbing imagery. It's of course based on a lot of research he himself did on the whole witches trial, the Salem witches trials. It has a great cast, and I know Sherry Moon Zombie gets a lot of crap because people will say, "Well, he just puts her in his movies because it's his wife and stuff." Let's be honest; it's not the first time we've had nepotism in the movie industry. Dario Argento was putting his girlfriend in every single movie, and would soon later put his daughter in all of his movies. So it's nothing new, and no one complained about back then. But I really think she gives one of her best performances in this movie. You have a great cast of typical regulars: Jeff Daniel Phillips, Ken Foree, Dee Wallace, also Judy Gleason, Patricia Quinn, who played what was the character? She was in the original Rocky Horror Picture Show. I want to say Magenta. She played Magenta. She's in it. Meg Foster's in it. So you have a great cast of characters, which he always does a great job of casting. So if you're into that type of genre and you haven't seen it, give it a shot. See what you think. It's weird, of course. The ending, I will admit, is a little bit confusing and a little bit muddied. A lot of it is he did not have a big budget for this film, so there's a lot of stuff he wanted to do that he couldn't do with the film. But it just has a very disturbing and icky tone throughout the movie, and I've had some people say that it reminds them of it's something that could have been A24 before A24 became a thing. It's that
Mhm.
style. I don't know if that's a good comparison or not, but it's kind of in that vein. So yeah, that was one that was really disliked by a lot of people, and I think it's because it was so unlike the previous films he had done up to that point. But it's like I remember the first time I watched it about maybe 10 years ago, and I was like, "Wow, this is really good. I'd like to see him do more stuff like this." Not that I
Mhm.
don't love his other stuff, but it's good to see that he can branch out and do other types of horror besides his typical 70s grindhouse type of style of horror that he normally does. So that's my pick there. I don't know if anyone else has seen the movie, but
I have seen it.
mm-hmm.
Yep, I've seen it.
And you hated it, didn't you? I can see you're like holding back.
I'm so sorry. I love Rob Zombie. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I am so grateful to him for everything he's done for the horror community. As a horror fan, I
Mm-hmm.
love him. Love his music. Love his new album. It's amazing. I have not liked a single movie he's ever made.
Oh
I'm
wow.
not I'm not I'm not a fan of him as a filmmaker, and it all comes down to the likability of the characters for me. It's a personal preference.
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
Well, maybe the monsters would be the one exception because he was using pre-written characters, so he couldn't make them extremely unlikable.
Oh, he
But
could have.
he could have, but he tried
But
to
he
stay
didn't.
true to the original spirit of the characters, and I like that. But I have to in any movie I watch, no matter how dark, no matter how bleak, no matter how fucked up, there has to be one person I can root for at least a little bit. And in Rob
Mm-hmm.
Zombie's movies, there are none. And even if I like the actors, which I always do,
Mm-hmm.
and I love Tyler Mane as Michael Myers, and I love
Mm-hmm.
Brad Dourif, and I have no problem with Sharon Moon Zombie. She's also coming out with an album soon, which is really exciting. Her first album, and like I said, I think they're great people, but I have to be able to root for someone, and I've never seen a Rob Zombie movie where I can root for the people in it. They're just so unlikable.
Normally I'm with you there, but for some reason with his movies,
Hmm.
it's the exception to the rule with me. Maybe because his
Right.
villains are so well done and acted. Though I would say I was like rooting for some of the characters in Halloween, though. But you obviously didn't, because I know you're not a big fan of those movies. But
No, it's just too trashy, which is hilarious coming from me because I love trash. I don't know what it is about Rob Zombie. I don't know what it is about his brand of trash that is just too trashy for me, but it is. So
I
I'm so
think.
sorry. But I get
So,
why people like Lords of Salem. My boyfriend, I think that's his favorite Rob Zombie film,
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So
Well.
I get the A24 comparison as well. But again, A24 films, I have a similar problem with them where I just where's the person I can root for? Where's the person I can relate to? Where's the
Mm-hmm.
person that I can go on this journey with? At least a little bit, I think, but yeah. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Trust me, in a little bit here, I'm going to piss off the entire audience here, okay? But no, I get what you're saying there. I think, oh no, I lost my train of thought there, but that's
well,
okay. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I could always can understand that to a point there. I think, I mean, his style is not for everyone, but that's why I was like kind of really into Lord of Salem, because I think you would admit, Molly, it's certainly a much different type of movie compared to his other
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
So,
And I absolutely. And I'd say artistically, I would say that it is his best. You know,
hmm
um, I really do. I think as a director, he really did shine in the film. Like I said, it's a personal preference. I would never say that Lords of Salem is a bad film. It's just a personal, like you used the word icky. That's a
yeah,
really good word to describe my aversion to the characters in films like Lords of Salem is that I just feel so icky the whole time I'm watching them. But I do think that Lords of Salem is very different in many ways from his other movies, and I think technically it's a very good film. So yeah, I definitely get why people
he
advocate for it. Yeah, for sure.
he has a real mean streak
Yeah,
as a filmmaker. I
he
mean,
does.
my favorite film of his is The Devil's Rejects,
Hmm.
and I will freely admit nobody in that everybody in that movie is awful, but
yeah,
I did like it. But I didn't
Yeah.
think I thought it was more like a grindhouse movie than a horror movie.
Hmm.
But
it was. And it was
Hmm.
actually well liked by Roger Ebert. Go figure.
Really?
See, and
Yeah, Roger Ebert gave it. Here's a guy who's trashed like every horror film of the last
mhm.
40 years. But before, I don't know, maybe in his old age, as he wasn't feeling well, he had an epiphany, and he I'm like, God, I wonder if I could get him to watch Hellraiser again. Maybe he'll actually like it. But
Yeah.
of course he's no longer with us. But
Hmm. Hmm.
okay, all right. Well, now we're gonna flip the script here. What's a movie that everyone loved, but you just didn't get it? You just not into it. And sometimes that can be a frustrating thing because you're like thinking, is there something wrong with me? Why are everyone else loving this film and I'm not? So I think we've all had maybe one of those films at least. So I'll start with you, George. Why don't you give me a movie that everyone seemed to love, but you just couldn't get into it?
Sure, I have two of them. The Witch. Um,
Okay.
I freely admit that's a great horror movie, and it's one of the best horror movies of the 21st century. The movie has like no mercy at all, and I did not like it. And the other one was Midsummer because I think it was extremely manipulative movie. So
Hmm.
and same thing. I admit that it's a great movie. I wouldn't argue that, but I just like I didn't I don't want to say hate it. Yeah, I kind of hated it. I kind of hated both the movies. It's just I just felt there were in The Witch there were small moments of like tenderness and mercy, and the filmmaker just goes out of his way to stomp on all of it, and
Hmm.
it's all like
Very mean spirited. Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah,
Hmm.
it's just a very the movie has like no I'm not I don't know. I do a little writing, and I try to be. I've killed and hurt a lot of my characters because if you write horror, that's what you do.
Yeah.
But I like to think I've always been fair to them, if that makes sense, and
Hmm.
not um, because I feel like if you're an author and people might think I'm crazy, you kind of have like a responsibility to your characters to do that, and so I just like I said, I really hated both of those movies. And they're great movies. I'm not taking away from that they were great, but I just didn't like them.
I think that's
I have.
understandable. I relate to you with the Midsummer thing. I think that technically, again, like what I was saying before about Lords of Salem, technically, Midsummer is a beautiful film. It's very well made, very well acted. I have no complaints from the technical side of the movie, but it didn't feel good watching it, and it's not one that I would ever need to watch again.
I also think they didn't. The main character, she had no agency at all,
Hmm.
and
I agree.
I think that I think that was rough. And that was kind of my problem with the witch too, because I don't think she had she had no agency at all. It was what was going to happen in both cases, and it's kind of crappy when you use your characters as props for your plot. Like which is what I feel like was happening there.
That's an interesting take. Yeah.
I have such a weird relationship with Midsummer because as a horror movie, I don't like it.
Hmm.
And this goes to what something Molly you just said, and shows where with Rob Zombie, I make an exception. With this one, I couldn't. It's because I didn't give a damn about any of the characters, and I thought they were all ridiculous and stupid and whatever. But if I go back and watch it through the lens of it being a dark comedy, then I
Mm.
enjoy the hell out of it because I think it's all ridiculous and
Did,
funny, and I
Yeah.
can see
Mhm.
like political or commentary satire because you have basically extreme individualism on one side with these Danny and her friends, and collectivism with the cult.
Mhm.
And it's kind of in that way I can kind of enjoy it
the
for that.
the
Yeah.
It's just
the people in the cult were the only people who loved and cared for each other.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
her parents committed suicide, and like none of no, the only person who expressed his condolences was the guy who led them to the cult, and the rest of them didn't like her. They barely tolerated her. It was just like, it was so I agree with you, Josh. I didn't. I felt badly for her because I think she was badly she badly needed a support system, and she did not have a support system, and that includes her bear boyfriend or what, you know.
Hmm.
And you know, like at the end, she got support, and it's through like it's like ironic. It's through like a crazy cult that she found herself at home,
Hmm.
and I just think it was a really manipulative movie.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I think it's both The Witch and Midsummer, I think, are important films from like a cultural perspective, and it's important to study the commentary of the films, you know. But as far as just sitting around watching them, um, I'd be more apt to watch The Witch again than I would Midsummer. But yeah, they're just not movies that I would just like sit around and casually watch for sure.
they
Yeah.
both sorry, they both messed with my head. So I mean, that means that they're good movies, and they did their job. They did their job. You know, if I really have a strong reaction to a movie, that's kind of that's like a good thing, even if
Hmm.
it's like dislike.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it. I mean, I liked The Witch. Not my very favorite, but I think with The Witch, I just liked the. I think it was more or less the cinematography and the fact that I'm a sucker for period pieces to begin
Hmm.
with. You know, I thought they nailed the dialogue. It kind of, I mean, I don't really see anyone. I mean, there's some commentary regarding, oh, and I forget her character's name, but Thomason is the character's name.
Hmm.
That, and I know both Molly and Kimberly can speak on it, that it's somewhat about how the movie is somewhat about feminism
Hmm.
and women being struck down by the patriarchy and so forth, especially back then. So I could see that, but I didn't find her all that likable of a character either, which I wish I could have. But it's still
Well,
a good
yeah,
movie and a well-made movie.
yeah, and then you also have the added problem, and I'm sorry because I don't mean to go off on a rant, and I won't. I promise I'll rein myself in. But you also have the added problem that The Witch is commenting on the patriarchy while at the same
Right.
time feeding into the patriarchy by depicting the mother figure as an extension of those patriarchal systems and
Mm-hmm.
painting her to be a villain. Which that's what I'm writing my paper on is how
Right.
older women when they are the mother of a daughter in a horror movie,
Become enablers.
99.9% of the time, they are either absent, evil, or dead and idealized. That's it. That's the only way we can depict women who are mothers of women.
Yep.
And it's a huge problem in horror. And The Witch is one of the examples I use in the paper. It's I have a whole study on it. Like it's so they're like commenting on the patriarchy, but then they're like, also don't get old girls because you won't have any use anymore and you'll just become an evil tag. You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
No,
rant,
that's
but yeah.
okay.
I mean,
I love your rants.
they do comment on the patriarchy, but the woman who's in the woods is depicted as being evil.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
it so it tries to have it both ways, which
It does,
is
and that is
it's
it's a blind spot in the genre. It
yeah,
constantly tries
it's
to have it both ways. Yeah.
well, it's and plus the scene at the beginning where the baby disappears is impossible. So that really annoyed the hell out of me. It
Hmm.
could
That
have
started
it
a new trope in these type of films where we're going to shock everyone because in the first 5 minutes we're going to kill a baby to shock you, and the witch kind of started. I think I mentioned that a long time ago in a note or something. Ever notice all these movies are like doing that, and it's gotten to the point to where there's a little kid. It's going to be one of these type of movies.
well,
That kid's going to die here in about 5 minutes.
Well,
Oh,
and I
yep,
think
there she goes in the river.
I wonder too. I wonder if the new It didn't actually kind of kickstart that trend because remember in the miniseries version of It, we knew that Bill's little brother died, but we didn't really see it because
Right.
back then we didn't show children really being killed like much at
Mm-hmm.
all. Then the first chapter of the new It comes out, and they're like, "Fuck you, we're showing the kid getting killed," and it shocked the hell out of everyone. And it was, me included, I was really impressed that they showed it. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, this is wow." And then
Right.
it's like ever since then, yes, it does seem like everyone's just trying to sort of one up that of like, well, we can do it better and crueler and which you
Well.
have to expect a degree of shock and death in horror. Of
Mm-hmm.
course you do, but yeah, it's
Right.
when it's just
But
cruelty for the sake of cruelty, it's no longer
I,
it's exploitation, and to me, that's yeah.
well,
but
Yep.
I'm sorry. What I meant was the fact that the baby vanished was impossible.
Oh,
I mean,
what, like
yeah,
logistically
yeah.
speaking?
Well, I mean, like, how did the woman get the baby? Did she turn herself invisible? I mean, I mean, like, there's rules in
there-
every movie. There's rules, and it's just
that's a
like
good point.
she goes like this, and the baby is gone. So like, she
Yeah,
either turned herself invisible, which I don't know. There's nothing else in the movie about that, or she teleported the kid. So
yeah,
like,
but I mean, it also features a talking goat. So I mean, I
no,
don't know that it really tells.
but
I
but
don't know if like, you know what I mean?
Satan could be depicted as a talking goat. It's
Hmm.
no, that was just a weird thing that
No,
I just
that's interesting though. I think that's a really interesting point.
it just it's like a magic trick. You know,
Hmm.
I like
Hmm.
the lighthouse much better than
Hmm.
Bewitched, but I think the lighthouse is a slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
Uh, myself,
I could see that too with that. Well, anything with Willem Dafoe can easily turn into a slapstick comedy because he's one of those
Yep.
characters when he does something, even if he doesn't mean to be funny, it ends up
Hmm.
being funny. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
those are some good choices there. Kimberly, what do you have for us? What's a movie that just didn't work for you that everyone loved?
The entire Terrifier series.
Kimberly, that was my answer.
Oh, well, the both of you can tag team it then, but Kimberly, you
Oh,
start
please
away
go,
on
go,
it.
go.
And I love gore. I love violence and horror. I mean, that's I'm here for it. But you got to give me context and you got to give me a story behind it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I love art by himself. Like by himself. Okay, great. Yes, it's something new. But I mean, you're doing such gratuitous, violent acts for no. Tell me, give me a reason. Give
Hmm.
me something. Like
Hmm.
something. I just don't understand the phenomenon behind it. These movies, I don't get
Hmm.
it.
Yep, of all the movies that could have actually kickstarted a new icon of horror, I cannot
Yeah,
believe Terrifier was the one that did it. It just and it's exactly what you said, Kimberly.
yeah,
It's the lack of story, especially in the first film. And people were
yeah.
like, "Well, there's more of a story in the second movie, and the things you didn't like about the first one." And that is bullshit. That is so not true. Like,
Agreed.
I was so bummed. As a showcase for special effects makeup, it is a masterpiece. If what you are watching it for is to see the many different ways that, special effects artists can create,
Yeah,
different can bring different deaths and different, violence to life,
Mm-hmm.
then fantastic. It's an advertisement for the people who did the effects for the film. That's
right.
the only way I can see it. Um I hated it. And I don't normally talk about movies I don't like. This topic kind of makes me a little, it's same thing with
Mm-hmm.
like the Rob Zombie thing. I never review movies that I don't like. There are plenty of people out there that will review them if they didn't like them. I focus on ones that I like. Terrifier, I was everything I could do not to talk about how much I hated it when it first came out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
It's
just
kind of it's one of those movies that's kind of a double edged sword, pardon the pun, because on one hand we want to see an low budget independent film do really well and really popular, but I kind of I'm kind of the same way. It's not that I like the performance of art, but everyone. It's almost like, especially with the third one. I like the third one. I literally got bored with it halfway through because it's like I've seen the same thing over and over
yeah,
already,
yeah,
and it feels like that one especially felt like a bunch of like separate scenes just strung together with
Hmm.
no real coherency whatsoever. And by contrast, a movie that should have spawned, in my opinion, well, I consider him an horror icon, or as far as the character goes, gets overlooked, and that's something I wrote about a couple of months ago, the Hatchet series.
Oh
The
God,
Hatchet
yes. And
series was
I
the
fucking
precursor to Walk, so
yeah.
Terrifier could run in a way, and like this is the movie that should have been that
What?
big
Yeah, Victor
because
Crowley. Victor Crowley should have been the next big horror icon. He absolutely should have been, and I will never understand why he didn't become that, and why art became that. It just
and you have a much better, by and large, a better cast of characters in that movie. I'd say I know a lot of people like, I forget the character's name in Terrifier, Selena, but she really doesn't do anything in these movies.
Yeah,
I mean, in part 3, she basically sulks around for 80 minutes and waits to the last 5 minutes to do anything. By contrast, I'm going to reference a couple of awesome final girls here. What did Ellen Ripley do in Aliens right from the start? Did she like sulk around for 90 minutes or so before she did? No, she went straight to battle, back into because she's the only one that could. Hellraiser 2, Kirsty Cotton is going straight to hell voluntarily to do what she needs to do. Nancy Thompson in part 3, yeah, a few years has passed, but she doesn't hesitate for a moment to help these kids deal with Freddy. And so getting back to the Hatchet series, Mary Beth is a much better final girl than without question, no matter who's playing her, at 2 different actresses. And it's like Kate Hodder, like Victor Crowley does funny kills, but there's nothing funny about him, if that makes any sense. He's just a straight out murderer. And plus you do get Tony Todd a lot in the second one, so that's always a plus. So yeah, I could see the Terrifier ones. I kind of like the first one. The second one, third one, and I probably won't watch the fourth one. I doubt that I will, but maybe.
I just think it's so funny because I remember I'm a very big fan of the Saw franchise. And I know that's also a little controversial because not everybody likes the Saw movies. Right. I love them. I love every single freaking one of them.
Every single one.
Yep, I love them. But it's so funny. So do you remember then when Saw first, came out, the first couple of Saw movies came out, everybody was screaming, torture porn, torture porn. This is just torture porn. It makes the first Terrifier to me makes all of the Saw movies look like softcore horror movies, like in terms of, at least because Saw had structure, it had story, it had characters. All the Saw movies, even the worst Saw movies, had structure and characters and story. Yeah. And so it's so funny to me that we were so anti-torture porn in the early 2000s, and now we have just completely
went off the rails.
Like it's so weird to me.
Yeah. I still don't know what the point is. Is he a man? Is he immortal? Like, why is he doing what he's doing? Where did
There's no lore.
No clue.
Yeah, going back to what Josh said about Hatchet, there's a lot of rich lore surrounding Victor Crowley as well that I think lends super well to, a long-standing franchise for one thing, but also just an iconic character. There's a lot to play with and build, like Michael Myers, like Jason Voorhees. There's very little to build on with Art because he has, virtually like very little. I haven't seen the third film. But I know in the first 2 films, it's not like we get much in the way of lore with Art,
That's
even
good...
Hostel, like Yanni said, with Hostel, even Hostel has a phenomenal backstory. There's a point to Hostel,
right?
And I love the Hostel movies, every single one of them.
Really? Okay.
They continue, and they have a great story. But yeah, like if you're going to give me, even like with Martyrs has a phenomenal story behind it. Like, give me context, give me a point, But I'm like, I don't see.
Yeah, to me, the worst movie I've ever seen in terms of how awful I felt after watching it was Antichrist, and I still don't know if I like it or hate it, because it's kind of like what George was saying about how if a movie gets a reaction out of me, clearly that's a good thing. It means it's done its job. And Antichrist definitely got a reaction out of me, a very negative one. And so I have to think that clearly that was the intention. And even that, I would prefer to watch that again than have to sit through the Terrifier movies. I don't know. Because that movie still had a story behind it. It was a story that I did not like. It made me feel like shit, but a lot of thought was put into the story side of Antichrist. And that's what I wish. That's what I think is lacking from Terrifier. Is it just needed a little bit more spirit, even if it was a mean spirit. It needed a little bit more spirit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and they claim that in the fourth one they're going to explain all of his origins. Well, why are you waiting to the fourth movie to do that? Because typically you build on that gradually throughout the films. You don't wait till the fourth film to start explaining him a little bit. And sometimes and maybe that's a movie that should have been just a one and done movie.
Yeah.
We didn't go that route yet. Movies that needed sequels, maybe some that should have just been one and dones. But maybe if we have time, we'll tackle that. But okay, so both of you picked Terrifier. Did you have any other, Molly or Kimberly, that you can think of?
No.
You believe you didn't have any more? I had one other one.
Okay.
And again, I'm not trying to be an apologist. I just feel so bad whenever I talk about movies I don't like, because it's always comes down to a personal preference. But I have a deep respect for Robert Eggers. I really do. Hated Nosferatu. Hated it.
Oh,
Yeah.
So did I.
yes, me too.
I loved it, but okay.
I hated
I know.
That's like my favorite Robert Eggers movie. So
I'm so sorry. I know.
So-
I'm so sorry.
No, don't
That and,
apologize.
The Voyage of the Demeter. The Voyage
Oh, I
of
haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen that yet.
That and Nosferatu, I hated both of them.
Oh, and you
Really?
didn't like The Voyage of the Demeter. Okay. I'm very curious about it. So that's interesting because, yeah, here's my thing with Nosferatu. Here's my thing. And it goes back to what we were saying about the witch, and Eggers is all style. I mean, in so many ways, he is so good with style, visually amazing, and I can see why he was the one to redo Nosferatu. And I'm sorry to kind of drudge up like an old argument, but why did we need a remake of Nosferatu? Because first of all, we already got one. What was it, in the 70s, I think, or something?
Herzog, yeah.
Yeah, and
79.
yeah, and secondly, it's still to this day, it is a beautiful, stylish film with so much history behind it that teaches so much about the early days of film. And the only benefit I can see to remaking it is to drive young people to the original. That's the only reason I can see to make it, because he brought nothing to that story at all, in my opinion. There's nothing new. He didn't say anything new. So it's just the original Nosferatu, but with modern graphics, modern makeup, modern style. And in my opinion, that's insulting. Because one of the beauties of Nosferatu is its classic style, is what it represents in film history. What was the freaking point? And I was bored, and I am never bored, but I was just bored. And I really didn't like the leading lady, Johnny Depp's daughter. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I just thought she was Lily Rose Depp. See, I really liked her in that.
I'm so sorry. And yeah, so all around, I was disappointed. And I watched it and I almost fell asleep. I had to watch it again the next day because and I don't get bored. I can't stress that enough. Like, it takes a lot to bore me. So yeah, all in all, did not like Nosferatu, and I was so sad that I didn't like it because I really wanted to. I'm so sorry.
Well,
I walked out after 45 minutes.
Did you?
In the
wow.
theater. Yeah. I mean, I literally, like, my eyesight isn't the best, but I literally couldn't see what was happening.
It was so
like
dark.
and then the problem is that it's like dark, and then you have light, and then I'm like, the technical part of the movie, like him doing that, it took me out of the movie. I'm like, what the hell is the director doing there? And it took me out of the movie. And then it was and then I agree. I mean, the original is a wonderful movie, and I mean, I like the remake with Klaus Kinski. I mean, it's the world's first depressed vampire. I mean, it was fine. I don't, I didn't, and I also thought that the characters spoke in ways that they wouldn't speak in Germany in the 19th century. It was like, it was too modern. I agree with you. I hated. I didn't like the movie. I don't want to say hated. I didn't like it.
I think that it's good for us to recycle and remix art. I really do. It took me a long time to accept that. I was very anti-remake across the board for a long time. I'm not so much anymore. I'm growing out of it. I think that remixing ideas is important, and it's an important part of how we create art and evolve. Like, I get it. I get the urge to remix. I get it. But just certain things are sacred to me, and that's how I feel about Rob Zombie's Halloween. And that's how I feel about Nosferatu. I feel like these movies needed to be left alone because they were absolutely perfect the way they were. And they were so important to film history that they needed to just be the one and only one we ever had. And I feel that way about Halloween. I feel that way about Nosferatu. So that was, I may have just kind of already gone into it, setting myself up to be disappointed, but yeah, I was disappointed.
Well, what did you think of the Frankenstein movie then?
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like it. I didn't.
I
It's
didn't like
funny.
it.
I
I
like
was okay. I didn't
Nosferatu,
like
but I
it.
didn't like Frankenstein. So.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I had no desire to see. But Frankenstein's a little different. It's kind of like
Mhm.
what you said about Halloween, how Michael Myers has been done to death. I feel like Frankenstein adaptations have been done to death. We have tried over and over and over again. We have barely gotten the adaptations right. We have a couple of good, versions of Frankenstein that aren't very good adaptations of the book. So we just need to cut it out. Like, stop trying to adapt Frankenstein for a while. Like, give it a rest.
The
But
best
that's
Frankenstein adaptation is Young Frankenstein by Mel Brooks,
Yeah.
and
totally agree.
it's not even close.
Totally agree. Mhm.
I'll still have to go with Bride of Frankenstein, even though that's really a sequel. Well, I still love the original two, the
Yeah.
first two anyway. But
And see, and I love those too. I love
Mhm.
the early Frankensteins, and Young Frankenstein is my favorite Frankenstein story. But and yeah, and seeing the still images of the design for Frankenstein for the new one obviously didn't help, but that was only part of what I just am so tired of people adapting Frankenstein. I'm so tired of it.
well, Robert Eggers is going to have a werewolf movie coming out here before too long. I think next month. So they give you something else that probably you're not going to watch. I'm
I swear
guessing.
I don't hate Robert Eggers. I really don't. I just, yeah, but I also get really wary whenever any filmmaker starts getting a bunch of ribbons pinned to him really quick.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to talk about that here in about a few seconds. So,
yeah, yeah,
um,
I get real wary. And Eggers, we pinned a lot of ribbons to that guy
mhm.
really fast, and I just usually think that's a recipe for badness. So anyway, sorry, please
Okay,
continue.
well, it's my pick now, and I fully expect to lose probably all my followers here on YouTube, probably on Substack. But anyhow, every once in a while, a movie comes out once again that didn't quite work for me, that everyone loved, and most of the time, I can understand why they loved it and respect it and all this stuff. But recently, we've had this phenomenon, and I've never seen anything like it in all my years. Obsession.
I
Um,
haven't seen it.
Oh no, Josh, don't say it.
I just did. I firmly believe that
Oh no.
Curry, what's it, Curry Park or Curry Barker,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
written direct, I think he has his own little wish stick or whatever those things were called, and I think he broke it. And his wish was that every single person that watches this movie will obsess all over it. Somehow I got immune to it. I suspect it's because I went to a black mass that night before I saw the movie, and we sacrificed a version or a virgin who looked a lot like Bear. Though I'm going to start calling him. I think I'm going to refer to him instead as Bambi because a guy named Bear I picture as a big burly biker dude with a long gray beard with tattoos up and down his arms, not some, I guess, scrawny, whiny little pissant. But all kidding aside, let me say this. I'm glad it's had, like Terrifier, I'm glad it's had the success that it's had. You have a lower budget horror film that has done extremely well, and that's going to hopefully open the floodgates for other indie films. I wish I loved it like everyone else does, but I don't, which makes me feel bad in some crazy sort of way. I just don't. I understand the themes of it, why people like it. Let's put it that way. I understand the like, but when I hear people saying that this is a masterpiece, it's the best horror movie I've seen in years, I'm like, really? You're gonna say it's better than The Substance or
Right.
Sinners
And
or
I
X
agree with that. Yeah, I agree with
or
that.
Pearl or
Right.
the actress who plays the character of Nikki should win an Oscar? I'm like, hold on, guys, a little bit here. If Tony Collette didn't get an
Right,
Oscar for Hereditary,
right,
and Mia Goth didn't get one for Pearl, and
right.
Demi
Yeah,
Moore did get nominated, but she didn't
yeah,
win. I don't think this young actress is in
yeah.
their league. So it's just it's. I've
Well, I
never.
think
Go ahead.
I think the reason why, because I think the demographic that went to go see it, I don't think they're not us. They're not diehard horror fans, and plus they're like, I went to go see it in the theater, and I went. It was like a Tuesday afternoon. That's
Mm-hmm.
the only time, and it was full of teenagers.
Oh, I'm
I,
sure.
I mean, and I'm just like, okay, so this is the demographic that it's hitting. This is a demographic that's saying like these huge, like it is the best thing ever. Because to them it is. They haven't seen. They won't see sinners. They won't see weapons. They won't see possession. They won't. You know what I mean? Like so to
Mm-hmm.
them, it is the best thing since sliced bread because that's probably all they ever seen. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I get it, but I mean it was still good. But I completely agree with you. It was not. You
Um,
know,
I think the problems I had with I knew going in, and this is what's like making me scratch my head, Kimberly, is I'm seeing people of our age group, I'm seeing people of all genders really embrace all over Substack because every day someone is writing a post on obsession. I'm seeing YouTube flooded, everyone from my age down to someone in their 20s talking about it. And I've never seen this. In the age of social media, I've never seen one horror movie, not even, it might be the closest one, it chapter one, but Sinners did not get this kind of
yeah, the social
reception.
media. Yeah, yeah.
I've never
That's
seen
a good point.
anything like
Well,
it.
didn't they? I think I just studied this though in school. Didn't they
Hmm.
have a really unique ad campaign though? Because I'm pretty sure that
Yeah, it did.
they did a
Yeah,
really unique marketing campaign where they were taking it multimedia. You could text and get like a crazy text from wasn't isn't that the movie that they did that with? It was like a text
I
based
don't know.
campaign. You could
I don't
call like
pay
an
attention to those.
the
you could
wishing
text
well
an
number, the number. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It was
you could
something
text
like
a
very
phone
unique.
number and then you would periodically receive more and more fucked up texts closer to the release of the movie. It's
Yeah,
actually it was a really brilliant marketing
yes,
campaign
it
that
was.
appealed to the younger crowd, which
Hmm.
I think is part of why it was just that's I literally just read about this last week and I forgot that it was Obsession that we talked about. But yeah, the marketing campaign is a big part of why you're seeing so much buzz for it online because it was a really social media forward marketing campaign, the likes of which we haven't really seen that much.
Yeah.
So that's yeah,
But
that's
was it
why.
Oscar worthy? Absolutely not. And
Right.
they copied some scenes from other horror movies. I'm like, this is not 100% original, people. You know what I mean? They have, so
I think my big thing with the movie, besides the young cast, which I knew I was going to might have a slight problem with going into the
We're
film,
grumpy old people,
I
okay?
know,
Always
and I'm proud of it.
Not
Let me
me.
tell you something. The first 10, I watched it in the theater. After 10 minutes, I was so annoyed I was ready to walk out. But I stayed in my seat, watched it, and I'll say I did like the ending. I thought the ending was well done. It was the ending that should have had. Maybe it could have went crazier. I would have liked to seen some elements of actually insane body horror.
mhm.
But I think the movie felt it's well paced, maybe paced too well. I think there needed to be more build up. I think after he makes his little wish, automatically she starts acting unhinged. I would have preferred where the first few days, say they're together, she's totally normal and it's just like he imagined it would be, and then we start getting some slowly ramp up to that. And then with that character of Bambi, I'm going to call him that from now on. I wanted to see something more like Arnie in Christine, where he
Mm.
starts off like the shy kid or whatever, and then gradually he starts getting kind of arrogant, mean spirited, even violent. I was kind of wanting to see that because the character doesn't change throughout the movie. It's basically the same character at the end as he was at the beginning. And then on a final note, and one of the themes on the surface, it's be careful for what you wish for because you might get it. But there's also some underlying themes about the fear of losing yourself, losing control of your body, your mind, and will, and all that. And I just think better. There's been films that have done that better. And the reason why the horror didn't hit is because we're telling this story from the point of view of essentially the villain, uh, dorky villain at that, but we're not getting the point of view from the victim herself, is what I'm trying to say. And we get a little bit of a hint that she's still there. The real Nikki, I guess, is still there when she says, please kill me or whatever. I would have liked to have seen some scenes where we're getting more of her point of view fighting to get back out or struggling or whatever. I think that would have added more to the horror of the story because the movie, like, it's not, I don't find it at all scary. The one really gruesome scene I saw coming 10 minutes before it happened. That's when the girl, Sarah, gets killed in the car. I was like, oh, I know exactly in about 5-10 minutes she's going to come crashing through the window and start beating her to death. That's exactly what happened. But so I'm like, when you look at a movie like Possession, you're seeing Anna. Well, first it's Mark's point of view, but then later on we get Anna's point of view of what's really going on with her, and that adds to the horror. We don't get that here with Obsession.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Now, I'm saying if someone were to say, well, like what other movie did it better? Get Out. I mean, watch Get Out, and I mean. And there's so
The Exorcist,
The Body Snatchers, Stepford Wives, Get Out. I mean, those movies do it so much more better. And I think it was definitely an inspiration. I think he probably wouldn't admit it. I mean, I haven't really seen any interviews with him talking about how he came up with Deception. But I'm like, bro, you probably saw Get Out and Stepford Wives. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't know.
He got the idea. He saw an episode of The Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. No, I'm serious. That's where he got the idea. I saw that.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he really did. Yeah, he saw a Simpsons episode, The Treehouse of Horrors. And I have not seen the movie because they eat a cat, so I'm not gonna watch that. But I think it's the same thing with the witch. Like the character, she has no agency at all, which is kind of like a pattern. And I mean, what I think is good about the movie is that it's going to produce a ton of other horror movies because they're gonna start cranking them out. So.
Yeah.
It's a very well made movie. It's well shot, and once again, I could get behind the scenes because essentially this character is basically both mentally and physically being, I don't know if I can use the word flat out on YouTube, but no one's watching anyway, raped essentially. But we needed to see that from her point of view to really add to the horror of it, I think.
Yeah. I haven't seen the movie. I will eventually, I'm sure, but I never get to see new movies, so it's on my watch list. But I think this is really interesting. I'm looking forward to finally checking it out and seeing how I feel about it, because the pacing issue also raises flags for me. That's a problem that I have with a lot of newer horror movies, especially ones that are kind of aimed at a younger audience, is I feel like we really are starting to just sort of shrink that divide between action scenes where it's like, okay, we assume that the audience doesn't have the attention span for a slow-paced film, so we've got to, keep things moving at a breakneck speed, and I'm not a fan of that. But then, I heard that Back Rooms is pretty good, right? And that one is pretty slow-paced, so I don't know.
Seen that one yet.
No, I haven't. I mean, obviously I haven't seen it.
But, I don't know. There's only one Barker in horror, and I'm pretty sure his name's not Curry. No. And you were talking about putting, decorating these directors too quickly. He's going to be doing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know if it's a remake or a sequel or what, but I'm like, okay, now you're heading this guy. Oh, Molly just had a heart attack.
I can't do any more Texas Chainsaw movies. I can't, man. It's done. It's even worse than Frankenstein at this point. Watch the thing.
Yeah, he's gonna come out. He's gonna come out on a walker, and basically.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, all right. That's wow.
But
I love horror franchises, but god damn, we just gotta have limits.
Yeah, at some point. Well, like I said, we want to see new ones be created, whether we like them or not. That's why I'm fine with Terrifier existing, even though I'm not as into it as a lot of other people, and maybe the Black Phone is going to turn into one because we've now
Hmm.
had two of those films, and that's not getting talked enough. I don't think that one gets as much
It was really
love as it
popular when it
should.
first came out. It
It
really
was.
was.
And
Yeah.
I'm wondering with Obsession, and once again, I mean, the reason why I've been really hesitant to even write about it is I don't want to take it away from people who love the movie, but I do at the same time want to point out some of the things that didn't quite work for me or what could have been improved upon. But I'm wondering, a year from now, 2 years from now, will this movie still be talked about
Hmm.
in the same level that's being talked about now? Because,
Probably
like
not.
I said, I've not seen anything like this with any movie. Not
Megan, I think Megan maybe was the last time that I
no.
saw. People were pretty up in
I
arms
mean, they
about
were,
Megan.
but I'm saying this is like every day I'm seeing at least one or two posts on Substack. And
Yeah.
it's weird
Yeah.
because I'm like the only person that's like offered any critique of the movie. It
Not,
seems
you're
like
not the only person. There's other people.
really, I need to meet
Yeah.
these people and we can form our secret
Um,
society. But I too, I mean, I brought this subject up because I know that most of us prefer to write and talk about the stuff we actually like. But I thought it would be
Hmm.
a good thing just to hear because now, okay,
Hmm.
Molly
Well,
hates Robert Eggers. So, which is fine.
I hate when people think the movie is so original, and I'm like, no, it's not. It has four other horror movie
yeah, I
elements.
saw this in
hmm.
1973.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I
we
kept on
all
I kept on
all
thinking to myself, if this movie had been made in the 70s or 80s or like directed by David Cronenberg, I bet you I'd like it.
Hmm.
Seriously, I was like thinking that throughout the entire movie. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
something Cronenberg would have really nailed. But you know
Mhm.
what? Best of luck to this director. He got his movie out.
Hmm.
He's younger. I have pairs of socks that are probably older than him. So, but well, my guess is going forward, this won't be his best movie. This is
Yeah.
like his first movie, and maybe he'll get better. I don't know about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I'll hold my breath on that one. Um,
I
but maybe
just,
he'll come up with something 3, 4 years down the road, and we'll say, "Wow, he's come a long way." But
what I don't understand. Sorry, this is a little tangential, kind of, but you know how many freaking horror novels there are out there that have never been adapted into movies? Why? Why are we not adapting those? And why
Yep.
are we still making Texas Chainsaw fucking Massacre movies? Like, there are so many great horror novels that have never been turned into movies.
Yep.
oh yeah, and we've had this discussion. I think on a few occasions.
Yeah.
It's called, well, here's why. It's basically money because they know that these big titles
Hmm.
will, whether they're good or not, it's why Blumhouse did 3 Halloween movies when maybe we didn't need any more, or whatever your opinions on those were. It's why, yeah, why we're getting more Scream movies, why we still have to get more Conjuring movies or what have you, because they know it's going to sell,
See, and that's what I
essentially.
wish we could do, is I would, because there are so many of us out there who feel this way, and I just wish that we could somehow organize the horror community to stop going and buying the tickets. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because if we would just stop, they would stop making them.
Hmm.
And that's what I really wish we could do. But the morbid curiosity gets the best of a lot of people, and they have to go and they have to fight. It's the same reason that I went to see the Poltergeist remake in 2015, knowing that I was going to hate it with every fiber of my being. I still went and sat in the freaking front row because I had to see it with my own eyes. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hans brings up the flogging dead horses, zombie horses is horrific. That's why. And I get the analogy that he's making. We're going to
Yeah,
continue
no,
to beat a dead
absolutely.
horse, but
Mm.
that's the thing. Even that myself as like a huge Hellraiser fan, if there's never another Hellraiser movie ever made, I'm totally fine with that because I've
Hmm.
got those first 4 movies that I
Hmm.
consider a great quadrilogy, and then there's the reboot was okay. I could deal with it, and even the one before is okay. But
Well, and it's such
I've
a
got
great.
the movies that I want. In
Hmm.
other words, I don't really
That's how I
need
feel
any
about.
more.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Scream. I got the Scream movies I wanted. We got
Mm-hmm.
the original Scream trilogy, which I think I genuinely believe it's a masterpiece. I think it's a great
Yeah.
trilogy of films. I love it. But that's the thing is it's such a risky game when you keep these franchises going for so long because you have to do one of two things, and they usually do both. Scream is a great example. You have to either appeal to a new audience or cater to the old. And when you do both at the same time, you get Dewey dying, you get Gail never being allowed to be happy. You get Sydney constantly trying to get her life together and constantly having her life ripped out from under her. So you see these legacy characters that get brought in for our benefit, just being tormented over and over again after they already had their happy ending. They already beat the monster,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Same thing with I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's the same exact thing. They're trying to cater to the young audience with a new young crowd in the movie, while at the same time trying to appease us by bringing back the legacy characters and turning them into fucking killers or killing
Yep.
them off. And it's like,
Yep.
it's just, to me, it's just, I'm sorry, now I'm just getting all worked up, but it just really bothers me.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
I'm much more excited to see something like Obsession or Backrooms because I know at least it's somebody trying to do something, independently of those popular IPs.
right.
You
And I
know?
haven't seen Backrooms yet. And I imagine I'll watch. I'm sure it's probably on streaming, and maybe I'll get.
Yeah,
It
it
might
just
be
got
something I might not get to till later this year because we're getting closer to Labor Day, and that's when I start my when I really binge up on my favorite horror movies between Labor Day and Halloween. But
Are you guys,
I'll get to that one.
sorry, I'm going to have to leave soon, but before I go, I wanted to
Mhm.
build off of what you just said, Josh, and ask if any of you have any plans for like the Halloween season on Substack. Like anything fun that you're planning on doing for the spooky season.
I
No.
do actually. Well, nothing like a big event. Not like Kyle's the one probably to talk to on
Yeah.
that one, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
wasn't able to join us tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully on the next episode. The only thing I have one post I have an idea that I'm going to be writing. Probably going to release it on Halloween, and it's going to be a comparison post where in the past I've sometimes compared movies, oftentimes the remake with the original.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm
Yeah, I
going to
love
do
it when you
here,
do that.
one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to compare franchises because we have Halloween, of course. Well, 13 days after that, we have a Friday the 13th in November.
Mm.
So I'm going to do a side by side comparison, comparing the Halloween franchise with the Friday the 13th
Oh, that's
franchise,
cool.
Ooh, yeah, that'll be fun.
comparing the overall lore of both of those, the stories, the killers, the protagonists, are just everything, and see if I can't determine who the best franchise is between the two of them. So that's something I've had in my head. I'm like, that would be a perfect time to do it because Halloween, and then you got Friday the 13th coming right after Halloween. So that's
That's
one
really
thing I'm
cool.
gonna do
Yeah.
then, unless I go blind in both eyes.
You're not going to go blind in both.
I know my other eye's starting to get better, so, and the other
Mm.
one's still fully functional. So
What about you guys, Kimberly, George?
I don't know yet. Kind of waiting to see what Kyle does for Scare Stack, but yeah, I don't know yet.
yeah, we'll see. I don't. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure. I did last year. I did one shot slashers, and that was fun. But
Oh, yeah.
I don't know this year.
Well, I did
Maybe
my 31 Days of October last year. I don't know if I have that in me this year. I don't know.
that
That
was
was
a lot of
so
fun too.
so much work, though. Like, I don't
Yes.
know if I
Oh
have it
yeah.
in me again.
I have a
But
hard enough time trying to get one post out in a week or in every other week, let alone you were doing it every day.
every
So
day,
that
a
was
1,000 words a day. It was like a marathon. That it was so much fun, and I'm glad I did it. But yeah, I was like thinking, like, oh, I want to do something special for Halloween, for spooky season again this year. And every time my mind goes to the 31 Days of October, I'm like, nope, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I have the energy this year.
I don't think I think you covered all the topics that you could cover. I don't think there's
Yeah,
any,
I don't know what I would do. Yeah, I don't know what I would do. But hopefully
I,
Kyle's got something fun for us.
I'm sure
Yeah.
he's got something planned for us. So
And I really hate to hop off, but I got to get out there and get my steps in before it gets dark. So I'm going to have to go
Yeah.
do that. But thank
okay,
you so
well,
much for
well,
having
thanks
me.
for having us. I think we've pretty much covered
Yeah,
everything.
me too.
All right. Well, everyone, of course, we have a few people. We had Yanni from the McCop Tavern was watching us. Hans Pritcher, as always, great to have you guys watching us, and anyone else who joins. I'm sure all my I'm sure I'll be down to like probably only 5 subscribers on YouTube by tomorrow, but no.
No, no.
No, but yes, everyone have great for thank you for joining me tonight. We'll try and do another one in August. I'm trying to think of a few more topics to come up with. So we'll see everyone next time. Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.